Hi guys, Gigi here with a new video. Today we are going to change the oil on a DSG6 gearbox DQ400E. So this gearbox it's installed on GTE cars, GTE platform. In our case today it's Volkswagen Passat wagon 1.4 TSI equipped with the DQ400E gearbox. The procedure it's almost the same like on the DQ250 DSG6. The only difference, I would say, you have to drain the oil from the oil accumulator using tester like Otis or VCDS or any other tester that supports this function. And you will have two drain plugs. You will fill in one place and drain in two places. You will need about 5 liters of DSG oil for this change. And if you want to drain the oil accumulator, you will also need to have a tester that's capable of performing this function. So we are not going to change the filter. Why? Because it's, for me at least, impossible to come to the oil filter without having the gearbox removed from the car, or at least lowered at least, I don't know, 15-20 centimeters or something like that. The oil filter housing will hit the chassis and you cannot take it out. That's why also in the manual it says the oil filter has to be it's removed while the gearbox is down, so it's not installed in the car. The manual says also that the oil filter should only be changed if you have burned clutches, or if you can see the oil it's brownish or black or coolant came into the system and stuff like that. So on these cars Volkswagen does not say that the oil filter has to be changed every time you change the oil. Well, we are going to take down the oil and see if it's dirty or not. But anyway, I cannot change the filter because it's so high up somewhere. I will show you where it is, and it's impossible for me to take it out from the housing, you know, because the distance between the oil filter housing and the chassis, it's like this. It's impossible to take it out and remove the cap and remove the filter and put it back on while the gearbox it's in the car. So before you do anything else, if you want to remove the oil from the accumulator, the temperature has to be in the gearbox has to be below 39 degrees, else you will not be able to empty the accumulator via the Otis or VCDS, because the module will not let you do this procedure. So you have to have the oil cold-ish, under 39 degrees, and then you will be able to remove it. So for this procedure we must remove the noise insulation from under the car. You will have two drain plugs, you have to unscrew, but before you unscrew those, you have to go into the car and perform the procedure of emptying the oil accumulator from the gearbox. So let's see how this is done. Before you do this procedure, I would recommend to connect the car to a charger to supply voltage for diagnostics. And if you remove the fuse cap, you have it here. If you remove this one up here, you will have a positive connection here. You can attach your charger, and the negative in the back. And then you can proceed with the operation of emptying the oil accumulator. So in my case, I've started Otis. It got all the modules and everything. I will put ignition on. and we will make right click on the gearbox and say guided functions, and here you have check the oil level. Under this menu you will also find the drain and fill up procedure. It will check some things. The ignition has to be on, the brake has to be on, the handbrake. We go and say complete. It will measure now. Now I come to the menu where it says press 1 to drain, 2 to fill, 3 to check, and 4 to cancel. We will go to drain 1, and it tells me exactly how much pressure I have in the oil accumulator right now, and the oil has to be under 39. So it has 42 right now. I cannot complete this one. I will have to wait until it has 39 degrees, so I will have to wait a bit. I've waited already about 1 hour and it's going very slowly down, so we will see. So half an hour later, let's see. Ignition on. Graded functions. Drain. Well, it looks like the temperature is okay. So now it's running the emptying sequence, and it tells me to switch off the ignition for 10 seconds. And I did. And I think I should have waited. Okay, I have to drain it again because I didn't wait until the pressure went all down. So we go again. The temperature seems to be okay, and we do it. Let's see. Yeah, I have to repeat the procedure. And now let's wait. Oh, looks like it's okay. So the procedure completed successfully. Now I can switch off the ignition. Let's see, continue, and switch the ignition off and leave it off for 10 seconds. I'm doing this. And switch the ignition on and continue now. And I can see the pressure is 0.27 bars. So it's okay now. Now I have to fill up, but first I will change the oil. Good, so we'll leave it like it is right now. Switch the ignition off and we go under the car and drain the oil. So I will have to remove this plug here and this plug here, and at the end here I have the plug for the mechatronic unit. I will have to remove that as well. So I will remove, I can't record and do this in the same time, so I will start recording after I start draining the oil. So right now I'm draining from this plug. Then I will have to cap it because I do not have such a big recipient to catch from both at once. Then I will remove this one and then from the mechatronic on that side, and we'll see. So guys, sorry for not recording this, but I was too busy catching some oil. You have to be careful when you unscrew this little screw from the mechatronic. When you take it out, the oil will start pouring down, flowing like hell, and it will spill all over. So maybe it's a better idea if you remove this plastic, this one, yeah, the cover for the wheel arch. If not, prepare some big recipient under the car to take the oil, because it will spill all over this plastic and splash. So sorry I didn't record that, but I was busy catching the oil. So remove this one, take the oil out from here, remove this one, take the oil out from this side here, and this one, when you remove it, for me nothing came out, no oil came out. You can see the overfill, the filling pipe there. You have to remove that with the hex, take it out. If you have some oil, it will come out, and then put it back in, and we are ready to start the filling procedure. I measured and I got out exactly 5 liters of oil, plus minus 100 milliliters that spilled down on the floor. So I will fill it up with 5.5 liters, fill up the oil accumulator, and then let the rest come down. So let's see how we fill it up, this one. So I have connected the pump, and I will start filling up oil. I will put 5.2 liters or something like that. I will not show you the procedure because it's the same like for the DSG6, so no need for that. Well, as far as I can see, I've put in 5.5 liters and nothing comes out. I will have to fill up the accumulator and fill half a liter more, because I don't think this was enough. But first, let's fill the gearbox, the accumulator. Okay, now say fill ATF. Put ignition. Is the transmission pre-filled? Yes, it's pre-filled. Ensure there is a power supply to the transmission terminal 30, such ignition on, blah blah blah. Yes. And now we say continue. The coding was performed successfully. Switch the ignition off for 10 seconds and we say off. And then when the coding was changed and we put the ignition on again, it will suck oil. So let's wait a little bit more. Switching ignition on and say complete, continue. And I can hear the pump pulling out, and the pressure 7.17 bars. Let's see. Something went wrong.
It's going up. Oh, and it went out. Why? I don't know. Maybe I have to put the plug. Okay, wait. So, yeah, my mistake. I had to put the plug under before I fill it up, because else it will suck air. So you put the cap, remove the pump, put the cap on, and then fill up the pressure accumulator. I did that, and now I'm going to check the level. It tells me it will take approximately 5 minutes. And at the end it will tell me if it's okay, the level or not, and if I have to drain some or not. I will pull the plug down and leave the extra oil to fill out. So now while the pump is running, I was told that in the next 8 minutes I have to perform the oil level check. So I will remove the plug, leave the surplus to flow out, and when there is no more oil dripping out, we should be good to go. Watch out for the washer. Oh, looks like I don't need to fill it up anymore. It should be okay. So now I just have to put the plug back and we should be good to go. So I've checked the oil level, and this tells me that I have to do it within the 8 minutes, and this test will end automatically, and I have to wait about 5 minutes to the end. So let's wait and see. So almost 8 seconds, almost 8 minutes. And perform the final works, switch off the ignition, and should be okay. We switched off the ignition. We have to wait 10 seconds. And then I'm going to perform the DTC race. Ignition on. And I could hear the pump running for a bit in the start, and everything should be okay. So now I'm going to delete the error codes and we are done. Thanks for watching, and sorry I missed a few steps. It's first time I do a DQ400E. So yeah, the procedure is not quite like the DQ250. You don't have to start the engine and move through the gears and nothing like that. The pump in the gearbox will fill automatically the oil and will circulate it through the system and everything else. So you will need a tester for this guys, if you want to remove it from the accumulator and check the level and all that. If not, just drain the oil. It will come out 4.5, put back in 4.5, and then the story continues. We filled up the gearbox oil, we checked the level, everything was okay, and when I exit Otis, it will check for DTCs and readiness codes and stuff like that. And it came and told me that readiness code for the engine, it's not present, it's lost, and I have to regenerate the code. So the car, Otis went in the car and
perform a manual switch over only to the petrol engine. It started the engine by itself, told me to switch on the headlights, switch on the rear defroster, switch on the air, the blower in the car to the maximum level, and to start the engine. And I did, and it started to measure and generate the readiness codes. But I had to wait until the coolant level and until the coolant temperature came up to 80%, 80 degrees. So when it came to 80 degrees, it told me press the accelerator pedal fully. I had to press it down. It kept the engine in high RPM for a few minutes. Then the RPM went down. Then the RPM came up again because it needs to preheat the O2 sensor and calculate the O2 level and all that stuff for the readiness codes. And it took, I don't know, 10 minutes more. I had the DTC, or I had the yellow engine light in the dash and the APC and all kind of strange stuff. But after 15 minutes, it told me that the engine is now ready and it passed the readiness, and it will switch back to the hybrid mode. So watch out when you do this and you lose, and I think all this happened because at one point I switched off the ignition while the pump in the gearbox was circulating oil, and it registered low pressure in the system, and that sent a DTC to the engine control module, and from there everything started. So if you do not have a tester capable of making the readiness codes and to empty the oil pressure accumulator in the gearbox, I recommend just drain the oil like you normally do in a DQ400, measure how much you got out, fill it up again with the same level. Eventually you can fill it up a little bit more and then let the excess drain out, and you should be good to go without going into the pressure accumulator, draining that, filling that up and stuff like that. I don't know exactly what the procedure with the VCDS is. I will try to do with the VCDS next time I get a car like this, and we will see. But anyway, this was my first DQ400, as I said, and it got me a little bit scared in the way, but this is how we all learn. We learn from the mistakes. If we don't do mistakes, we will probably not remember everything what we did and what we did wrong, so next time we don't do it wrong. Well, the procedure is not complicated if you do it correctly, and I will write down the procedure to do it correctly, and then you can do it safely without generating any error codes, without generating so much stress or so that was it, guys. Thanks for watching. Until next time, see you.